خالي جاوب عن سؤالي يا قلبي يا خالي جاوب عن سؤالي مشغول من ايه وشاغلني ليه مشغول من ايه وشاغلني ليه ليه يا قلبي يا قلبي ليه
يا قلبي يا خالي جاوب عن سؤالي يا قلبي يا خالي جاوب عن سؤالي
مشغول من ايه وشاغلني ليه مشغول من ايه.
Right guys, welcome to the first video after my World Cup team preview series have been completed. And if you guys like the sort of World Cup content that I'll be putting out over the next month basically throughout the World Cup, why not hit the subscribe button on this channel and also like the video and ring the notification bell so that you don't miss any of my World Cup content that will be coming out over the next month. Now, in today's video, I will be talking about my World Cup predictions. That's right, I am finally, with all the information we have regarding the World Cup, the squads have been announced, we know all the players, we know that teams are in a good phase of training and all those sort of good stuff, that I can now make a relatively decent prediction for the World Cup. I hope I'm not going to be so biased, but obviously this is just a prediction for the World Cup. And obviously if you are supporting any of these countries, why not let me know in the comment section below. And before I do, down here is my World Cup Fantasy League. I'm going to be doing a fantasy league, so if you guys want to join, the code is down here, so it will appear on the ticker down below so that you guys can join as well. And without further ado, let's get into my World Cup predictions. Alright, so these are the groups for the upcoming World Cup. So let's start with Group A, which includes the host nation Qatar, Ecuador, Senegal, and the Netherlands. People will say that the Netherlands are the favorites to progress from this group. And to be honest, I feel like the Dutch do have a very, very good team. I did my team preview. It is actually one of my best viewed team previews, the Netherlands. So, you know, big up to all the Dutch people. And to be honest, I feel like the Dutch squad is actually very, very balanced. And a lot of people put them as the dark horse. I don't really see the Netherlands as a dark horse. I do think that they are, in my view, a favorite to win the World Cup. Whether they'll win it, I don't know, because historically they're not that good in terms of actually winning the trophy. But I think with this group, I think the Netherlands have the quality in all areas of the pitch, whereby they can punish teams like Senegal, Ecuador, and Qatar. So I'll be putting the Netherlands in first place. And then in second place, I'll be honest with you, a lot of people will write out Qatar from this group, but I feel like Qatar are actually a bit decent. They've obviously have improved over the past 11-12 years since they've been awarded the rights to host the World Cup. And I feel like there's a little bit of a, I wouldn't say disrespect, but there is at least a much more competitive team than what people may expect from Qatar. Do I think they'll be better than Ecuador or Senegal? I am not sure. So right now, I feel like Qatar, I will say this, I can see Qatar winning against most likely Senegal or Ecuador, but would it be enough to get them in the top two position? I am not sure yet. So for now, I'll put Qatar in last, but they can be eliminated with 2-3 points to their name, to be honest. I do not see them losing every game. Hopefully I didn't jinx that. And then for second and third, a lot of people are actually going for Senegal to progress because, you know, they have the quality. We know what they're all about, AFCON champions. So on paper, they are the best team from Africa. But then I look at the Ecuador team and I feel like there's that surprise package vibe about Ecuador, because if a lot of people are predicting Senegal to go through that group, which a lot of people will, with good reason, I feel like the World Cup has this sort of magical value into it, whereby I don't really feel that magic towards Senegal, but I feel that with Ecuador. And Ecuador, as I said in my team preview, they are a very, very high pressing team. They are like the hybrid of Brighton and Liverpool combined. That good, even Newcastle, a very good pressing team. And I think a lot of people will be surprised of just how good this Ecuador team can be at this World Cup. And I think it will come down to the final game potentially between Ecuador and Senegal. And I think Ecuador could squeeze it out against Senegal. So I'm going to predict that Ecuador finished in second and Senegal finished in third. So that's Group A done. I have Netherlands first, Ecuador second, Senegal third, and Qatar fourth. But I will say I won't be surprised if Senegal and Qatar, you switch them around third and fourth. But that's what I'm going with. In Group B, we have England, Iran, USA, and Wales. This is a very, very difficult group. This, according to the FIFA rankings, is the group of death. I think every team in this group is in the top 20 in the world. So that's how good these teams are at this group. Group B, honestly, right, I feel like with England, even when they're not doing very well, especially over the past year or so, I feel like England still has that quality, that edge about them to make it out of a group like this. And I feel like they may not be convincing England, and that's why people are probably going to be Southgate out. But I feel like England still has that cutting edge that might just get them over the line. And then when you look at the other three teams, Iran, USA, and Wales, I feel like all these teams are very equal. There's no disparity between all these teams. Iran, they have that World Cup experience, so they know how it is, and they've won a match in the last World Cup. USA and Wales never been to a World Cup. Well, USA have, obviously, and Wales have before, but they don't have that tournament experience with what Iran and England have. And I'm not saying that tournament experience is the deciding factor, but I feel like in a region of Asia, because this is a World Cup in Asia, I feel like a lot of people are not really hyping up the Asian teams. Yes, they can hype up Japan, but you don't really feel that hype around all of the Asian teams. And I feel like all the Asian teams at this World Cup will give a good account of themselves. I will say that I'll give a prediction. There's 6 Asian teams at this World Cup. I don't think all of them will be shit. Maybe one of them will be, but I don't think Iran will be one of those. And I feel like Iran may cause an upset against either USA or Wales. Maybe not against England, but if they did, I think that puts them in a very, very good position. And I think Iran sneaks second place in this group. Maybe on goal difference, potentially. For third, I'm actually going with Wales over the USA. And I feel like that matchup, that first matchup between Wales and USA, is a deciding one in terms of who will be able to have a chance of progressing. And I feel like Wales may have that cutting edge. A player like Gareth Bale, yes, he's not really at his best anymore, but I feel like that sort of cutting edge brings them a long way, especially when Wales were able to have a very clear structure and tactics to perform on the big stage. They played against Netherlands, Belgium, Poland, all teams that are going to the World Cup. Yeah, they didn't win any, but you can see that they are preparing themselves for that stage for the World Cup. USA don't really have that, and I feel like the USA team, for now, I feel like they're a bit overhyped in my view, and I feel like the USA has a tournament too early for them to really be considered a knockout stage contender for me. So I will put the USA in fourth. And again, this is not me hating on the USA, but I just think that the coaching and all those sort of things, the tactics, I just don't think that it'll be able to match up to the other three teams that have a lot more of an organized feel about them. compared to the US, where it's more of like, yes, they have good talent over Iran or Wales, but I feel like they don't have that grit about them, that mentality of we can actually grind it out. I just don't see that with this USA team. Whereas with Wales, Iran, and even England, I feel like they have that bulk already that can help those teams progress, hopefully, throughout this tournament. So that's why I'm going with Group B. England first, Iran second, Wales third, and the USA in fourth. Group C, we have Argentina, Saudi Arabia, Mexico, and Poland. This is a very, very tough group. And obviously a lot of people will be putting Argentina first, Saudi Arabia in fourth. I feel like that will be the case with this group. And I think it will have to come down to the final game, actually not the final game, the first game of this group, which is Mexico v Poland. And I feel like that will be a decider. Whoever wins that, I feel like has a very, very good shot of progressing at this World Cup. However, I will say Saudi Arabia could nick a point or even a win against one of these two teams that can really make this group very interesting to call. And I feel like, again, I always talk about having that edge, that cutting quality. Mexico usually, I wouldn't say overperform, but they do have that experience of managing a group and being able to progress. And with Poland, they don't really have that. But I feel like with Poland, they have players such as Zielinski and obviously Lewandowski, Matty Cash, and actually a very, very decent core of players. But it's more of like, are Poland able to push towards that next level and actually do something at a World Cup? And I feel like this might be a change on Poland. And I think this sort of Mexico round of 16 vibe, I think will end now. And I will go with Poland to edge Mexico in this group. And I feel like that's how Group C will go. So I will go first place Argentina, second place Poland, third place Mexico, fourth place Saudi Arabia. Of course, I didn't speak much on Argentina, but we all know how good Argentina are right now. And I feel like they are one of the favorites, without a doubt. I think they're, in my view, first or second favorite to win the World Cup. It's very close between them and another team we'll talk about. Moving on to Group D. Group D at this World Cup is France, Australia, Denmark, and Tunisia. First bit of note, will the champions curse happen? In my view, do I see France falling under that curse? I honestly feel like, I know it sounds very crazy, obviously, but I wouldn't actually be surprised if France are not only hit by the champions curse, but finish bottom of the group without winning a single game. Would I be surprised? No, because I predicted it. But I think for the general public, people will still have France because people will say France has that depth, they have that quality. But look at what's happened in the past few days with France. Obviously, if we knew Christopher Nkunku was able to play, now just all of a sudden he got injured a day or two ago, and now that may change the perception of how the quality of the French team is. Even with the depth and the players that they have at their disposal, I feel like there's a lot more brewing than what we may see. And the Nations League was able to give us a good idea. France lost to Denmark twice. They did not beat Croatia in both games. And let's be honest, when France played Austria, they drew. They could have actually lost that. And then in the home fixture, yes, France won, but France weren't convincing. They weren't at their best. And yes, you can say it's Nations League, so that's just friendlies and all that. But in those sort of Nations League games, those games are preparation and a good view of how teams can do at the World Cup. And I feel like there's a bit of more pressure on this French team than, what people would think on them. And I would actually feel that the Champions Curse might be one of the worst to hit on the champion. And I'm going to put France to finish bottom of their group. Yes, that's right. Bottom of a group that has Australia, Denmark, and Tunisia. No disrespect to the other three, but obviously France has more pedigree. But I just feel there's something brewing in that French team that I don't think a lot of people are realizing, that this French team, even with the quality of the players, especially up forward, and players like Varane, Pavard, Lloris, I just think that there's a bad storm brewing in this French team that not a lot of people are really considering at this moment. And it's not because I want the Champions Curse to happen, but I genuinely think that an Australia or a Tunisia can put up a good fight against France, and who knows, maybe sneak a draw, or who knows, beat France, So that's why I feel like France will finish bottom of the group. I think I won't say I'm the only one, but I feel like I'm one of the people that are predicting France to finish bottom of Group D. So that's what I'm saying. For the other three teams, Australia, Tunisia, and Denmark, I will be honest with you. I think Denmark have been very impressive, and I feel like their quality will shine throughout this tournament. And I feel like, do I consider Denmark a dark horse? I think they have established themselves as a decent elite dark horse pick at this World Cup. They're not really a underdog because people know how good this Denmark team is. And so they're not necessarily a underdog, but they're more of a very decent shout of being a team that can go far at this World Cup. And a lot of people won't question it. And I think Denmark does have the quality to progress from the group. For second place, between Tunisia and Australia, I'll be honest with you. I think if we were to get one of the surprise African teams at this World Cup, I think it may come from one of the two Arab North African teams, which is Tunisia and Morocco, who are in Group F. And I feel like this might surprise people. I'll say this: Tunisia, if they beat Denmark in the first game, that puts a lot of pressure. If both Denmark and France do not win their first game at this World Cup, that may spell trouble. But I feel like when you look at Tunisia's squad, it may not be the best going forward, but defensively they are quite solid. And you have players such as Sliti, Kazri, Mesakni. These are very decent players that can actually punish teams in a blink of an eye. And I feel like that may put them in a bit of quality. They also have the experience of obviously the weather, but they've played in the Arab Cup. Obviously, yes, weaker opposition compared to this World Cup, but I feel like being able to play in a tournament in the Arab world around this time actually helps Tunisia. And I just think that there is a good amount of quality in this Tunisia team that they can progress from this group. And for Australia, look, this is not the best Australian team. I think this is the worst Australian team in the 5 qualifying cycles. I think Australia have that grit about them. We saw that throughout the qualifying. They weren't amazing, but they got their way through. I think they can have the grit. I just don't think they have the quality to be able to be in a qualifying position. But I could see Australia finishing above France in this group. I'll just say that. And then we move on to Group E. We have Spain, Viva España, Costa Rica, Germany, and Japan. First off, I will say this. A lot of people think that Spain aren't that good. And obviously, I'll be here to defend Spain. But I will say this. If there's a team at this World Cup, a European team, that I think has proved themselves to be one of those grinding out teams, like they can be shit, but when it matters the most, they are able to pull through. And I feel like Spain, out of all of the European teams at this World Cup, have that grinding out, that way of finding a way to get to their goal. And I feel like Spain at this World Cup, I think obviously possession will be a big help for Spain. It's whether Spain will be able to finish their chances. I think Spain will not be the prettiest team in terms of goal scoring, but I think the Spain team is able to control games. Especially, look, if Spain loses to Costa Rica in the opening game, that just spells trouble. That just spells trouble. So I think Spain may have to take advantage of that first game against Costa Rica. It could just be a 1-0 Spain win, maybe a penalty is the one that decides it. And I feel like if I was to compare Spain to Germany and Japan, I think Germany can give Spain a game. But I feel like when you look at Spain and Japan, I think that is quite even, but you will still... I still think Japan will be able to sit back and absorb pressure on Spain, but I don't think it will be enough to have Spain crash out in the group stage. And I think I'll be putting Spain first in Group E. And unfortunately, I think Costa Rica aren't the sort of best team. But again, I wouldn't be surprised if Costa Rica also finish like in third above the team that I'm going for third, which is very unfortunate for me to say. But I think, and I look back at this World Cup, and I feel like this Japan team, they're very underrated. And I feel like if there's one team I may make a mistake on, I think it's on Japan. I could see Japan finishing bottom of the group, but I can also, in a way, see Japan finishing top of the group. But I think this is the group where I have to make that safe bet, because you know how Germany can turn up. You know that Spain has that grit and quality that can punish a Japan or even a Costa Rica. And I feel like that's where the quality of Spain, Germany will go. I just feel like Japan may be a bit unlucky in certain matches whereby it may not be enough for them to progress from their group. All right, and the next group, which is Group F, which includes Belgium, Canada, Morocco, and Croatia. Now, I will first say this about Belgium. I don't think Belgium has the vintage or the quality that they have before, but I feel like with Belgium, they have the tournament experience and the quality that can punish a team like any of these teams in this group. And I feel like there is still that quality that Belgium possess. And I still think Belgium still tops the group. I think they could win all 3 games. Obviously, they could lose every game, but they could also win the games. And I feel like a lot of people will say, oh, this Belgian team's too old, the defense is terrible and all that. I know, but when you think about it, Belgium will play against Canada, against Morocco, and to some extent Croatia. Those teams will probably sit back and let Belgium do the ones try to cut teams open. And I feel like a quality player like Kevin De Bruyne will be able to beat those sort of defenses and find the killer pass and create a lot more opportunities for this Belgium team. And I feel like in this tournament, in this group, I don't think Belgium would be as tested until they reach the knockout stage where they meet much more better opposition. And that's why I think on Belgium, like, there's still quality in this Belgium team that I feel like they should be able to top the group, in my view. In second place, I think it's quite tough. I think people can put Croatia as second. And again, I may have to put the safe bet here, but I do think Croatia gets second, and then Morocco get third, and Canada finish in fourth. Now, I know a lot of people are hyping up on Canada. Look, this Canada team is good and all that. But when I look at this Canada team, look, I don't watch Canada, I don't watch Morocco, I don't watch Croatia or even Belgium. But when you look at this Canada team, they are a very young and exciting team. But also, I don't know if Canada are ready at this moment in time to make a big statement at the World Cup. And I feel like it will be in the 2026 World Cup, the next World Cup, not this one, the next one, whereby Canada will be able to show and, basically show us what they're all about. And I feel like this World Cup is a tournament too early, but a very good stepping stone for Canada. I think that's how it should be viewed. I just don't think Canada has the quality at this moment and the tournament experience and the overall grit about them to grind out the results. Yes, they'll have the fun and the passion to perform, and yes, that'll be good. But when teams of Belgium, Croatia, and even Morocco's quality will have the experience and just as good, if not maybe better quality players, I think that can punish Canada at this World Cup. That's why I have Canada at 4th. Morocco, Croatia, I think that's quite close, but I feel like Croatia may edge Morocco in that opening game. That I think it will be Croatia that will finish above Morocco, because I feel like, and I think Croatia will beat Morocco in that opening game that these two teams meet. And that's what I go with. Group F is Belgium first, Croatia second, Morocco third, Canada fourth. All right, and next we are in Group G, which has Brazil, Serbia, Switzerland, and Cameroon. This, I think a lot of people will call this the Group of Death. I know there's Group B, there's Group H over there, you can see. I think Group G is just as difficult as it is, but I feel like, I don't know if I'll call it the Group of Death, but I think this group can deliver a lot of surprises, but it may not come in the form that we may expect. And I'm not going to say I'm going to play it safe on this one. I do think Brazil topped the group. That's what I think. And unfortunately, as much as I want to see Cameroon do well at the World Cup, I think Cameroon won't be shit. They won't. And I think Cameroon can beat Serbia or Switzerland on their day. I just think that if I'm putting the safe bet, obviously it's prediction, so I can think of it, but I think they may have narrow defeats. But I'll say this, I do think Cameroon can get a point, if not a win, over Serbia or Switzerland, but I just don't think they will have enough to finish in a top 2 position. And then it comes down to that final game between Serbia and Switzerland. In my point of view, I know a lot of people are hyping this Serbia team up. To be honest, I don't really see this hype on Serbia. And this, obviously, people will hate me. Oh my God, you say Serbia's a bad team. I'm not saying they're a bad team, but I don't really trust this Serbia team to deliver their sort of dark horse package. We always talk about Serbia being a dark horse. 2018, 2010, even 2006. And even then they finished 32nd out of 32 teams. But I don't really fully trust the Serbia team to push on and battle against a Brazil in which they are without Mitrovic and maybe even Vlahovic in that opening game. Yes, Jukalovic could do something, but they don't have. I don't think that Serbia has that quality in defense and goalkeeping, to be honest, that I think may be a hindrance to them in this group. That's why I say Cameroon can beat a team like Serbia. I think I'll put more money on Cameroon beating Serbia than Cameroon beating Switzerland. And I feel like that may edge it for me, whereby I think Serbia will finish in 3rd and Switzerland gets 2nd. And the reason why I put Switzerland in 2nd above Serbia and above Cameroon is I feel like the Switzerland team is in their golden age, their golden generation. They reached the quarterfinal of the Euros, and I feel like they were able to edge past an Italy team throughout World Cup qualifying. And I think that when you look at this Swiss team, goalkeeping is good. Defense is really good. A lot of people don't necessarily see Switzerland as a big team, but they are very, very well organized. A very well organized team. You have a good midfield of Xhaka, Forle, and then up front you can have a player like I'm not sure if he's in the squad, but I think Severovic. You have Mbolo, even Shaqiri on his day. I think this Swiss team, I think, will once again edge Serbia for that second spot in that group, and that may cause Serbia to be eliminated in this World Cup. But I will say I won't be surprised again if Cameroon finishes above Serbia. But for now, I'll stick to that in Group G. And then in Group H, we have Portugal, Ghana, Uruguay, and South Korea. This group is one hell of a group. This is an amazing group. You have a lot of revenge stories in this group. Portugal, Ghana, they played each other in 2014. Portugal won. Uruguay beat South Korea. Well, Uruguay beat South Korea back in 2010. And then you have Portugal v Uruguay. They both met in the last World Cup in the round of 16. Uruguay won. Ghana v South Korea. That's the only match that never played at the World Cup. But those are very decent teams in a way, possibly, that can, if one of them wins that match, has a very good shout of challenging for a second place spot. And then you have the final day, which is Portugal v South Korea, rematch of 2002, and Ghana versus Uruguay. So heck, that group H is World Cup history right there, and I honestly think that can be a group of death as well. And how do I see this group going? I'll give you my order now, and I will explain it, because it is, I don't think it's a mad one, but just look where I put the teams at. There. That's how I see Group H going. I have Uruguay first, South Korea in second, Portugal third, Ghana fourth. I feel like when people can say Uruguay, they can finish top of the group, but South Korea, they're not that. Look, I think South Korea are just as underrated as Japan. I think South Korea and Japan on their day can beat anyone at the World Cup. And I'll be honest, and when you have a player of Sung Hyun-min's quality, I think he usually and always steps up for his national team. And I feel like there might be an edge whereby South Korea can beat either a Uruguay or Portugal, or why not both. And I feel like this group for South Korea, I think they may be one of the surprise teams that go through in the next round. And I think that's where I think South Korea can push at this World Cup, is being able to see themselves as a team that they can be on their day very good. They beat Germany in the last World Cup, and I feel like this South Korea team right now is better than 4.5 years ago. Uruguay, we all know, and I feel like basically Uruguay beat all these teams in the past 3 World Cups and all that. I just think that Uruguay, that sort of revenge arc on Uruguay, I think Uruguay will put an end on those teams and show that they are the ones on top. And I feel like that's why I feel with Uruguay at this moment. And then a bit of a surprise, I have Portugal getting eliminated in the group stage. Look, I know Portugal has the quality. I don't know about this Ronaldo situation, and maybe it's playing in my head that it might be a lot, but I feel like from what we are seeing, this group of Portugal players, very talented. But do we think they can go the distance at this World Cup? I think Portugal can win the first game against Ghana, but I don't know if they can beat a Uruguay or even a South Korea. I think Portugal will be just like France, in my prediction, the big teams that go out. unfortunately. And then Ghana in fourth. Look, I know Ghana are good on their day, just like any team. But I feel like, I don't want to say underrated or overhyped. I just don't see Ghana having the quality to punish teams in this group, even a South Korea. And I feel like, maybe I'll add this as a little prediction. I think Ghana might be the team that finished 32nd out of 32 teams, like finished dead last in this tournament with 0 points. That's what I think. And look, I would love the revenge arc on Uruguay, but I feel like this is not the Ghana team that will push at this World Cup. I'm sorry, I just don't see this Ghana team being the best that we've seen. I think, to be honest, even I feel like this is the weakest Ghana team in the 4 times that they've been to a World Cup, including this one. That's why I think on Ghana, unfortunately. I just don't really see much on Ghana. Look, it's not me being mean on Ghana. Look, it's a World Cup. Someone has to finish 4th in their group. I just don't think that Ghana have the building of the team to punish a team like a Uruguay, a South Korea, or Portugal. That's why I have with Group H. And then, now, let's move on to the knockout stages. Let's click next. Hopefully we get to the knockouts. Knockout stage, here we go. Knockout stage. First knockout game we have, I'll just go straight in the order. Netherlands versus Iran. There's a little bit of history between Netherlands and Iran. Iran and Netherlands met back in 1978 in Iran's first ever World Cup. And I think the Netherlands won that 3-1. I think the Netherlands made it all the way to the final, but lost to the team we all look soon, Argentina. This is a World Cup in Asia, and I don't see anyone putting much Asian teams. I think the only Asian team you can put through, and you can feel like you have a bit of sense, is Japan to reach the quarterfinal. Now, I have pondered that as well. Obviously, I don't have Japan in the knockouts. I think Iran, they can sit back, have an organized defense, absorb the pressure of this Dutch team, and they can hit them. And even if they don't, they can hold it off to a penalty shootout. Remember, back in 2014, the Netherlands drew 0-0 with Costa Rica. Let's not forget, Costa Rica. And obviously, they won on penalties. And so, do I think that sort of feeling comes back to the Dutch? Does that story of the Netherlands not being able to break a very, very low block down? I think Iran might beat the Netherlands on penalties. I have Iran reaching the quarterfinals of the World Cup. That's what I'm going to say. Surprise, yes, but hey, it's a World Cup. I need to create the storyline of the World Cup. Next up, we have Argentina versus Tunisia. Whoever wins this has a good path of reaching the semifinals. And actually, this game, Argentina v Tunisia, if it happens, is after the Netherlands-Iran game. If they know that Iran made it, they know that whoever wins this Argentina-Tunisia game, with that knowledge that Iran made it, they know they have a good shot. And I feel like Argentina can step it up a notch in the knockout stage. And I feel like this might be the end for Tunisia at this World Cup. But valiant effort on Tunisia if they make it to the knockouts. It will be the first ever knockouts. The same thing with Iran. Their first knockout appearance at a World Cup. So I have Argentina going through. I'll predict the quarterfinals in a bit. Next, round of 16 is Spain versus Croatia. And oh my geez, Spain and Croatia have always met in literally every major tournament. Euro 2012, Euro 2016, Euro 2021, whatever. Now we're meeting Croatia again, at the round of 16 at the World Cup. Will we get that sort of 5-3 match at this World Cup? I can see it going to extra time. I'll say that because I know how Spain can mess it up. But I think, as I said with Spain, we may not play the prettiest football, but I think Spain, again, can grind it out at extra time, even on penalties. And I think Spain gets it. It's not me having hope, but it's me actually feeling like this Spain team, a lot of people are doubting them. I don't think they're as bad as some people may think, or they don't have experience. They're not that good. I think this Spain team already has that experience of tournament football. Pedri, not Gavi, but Pedri. You have Busquets, who has that experience in him. Unai Simon, Pau Torres, Laporte. This is even, of course, up front. Morata is not the best one, but look, Morata in the Euros, he only scored, I think, 2 goals or 3 goals at the Euros. He scored the game-winning goal against Croatia, believe it or not, in extra time when he got it at 4-3, and then he was the one that scored the equalizer against Italy. Once again, he was the man that missed the penalty in the penalty shootout against Italy. So that's not good. But yeah, that's why I feel on Spain that there is that edge on Spain. And the next match in the round 16 is Brazil versus South Korea. As much as I love to see South Korea somehow beat Brazil, I just think that there's too much quality on this Brazil team that they will be able to punish South Korea, especially in the knockout stage type of format. We could see similar like a Belgium v Japan in the last World Cup where it finished 3-2, but Japan gave Belgium a good game. I can see South Korea potentially, who knows, giving Brazil a very tough game, but quality once again will shine through this Brazil team. So I have Brazil going into the quarterfinal. Next up, England versus Ecuador. I'm just going to say this, right? I'm making a World Cup. I'm not picking favorites. I'll say this. This is what I think. Right? That's who I think can win that matchup between England and Ecuador. First up, England and Ecuador, they met back in 2006 World Cup knockout stage, round 16. And that was Ecuador's only time in the knockout stage. So the fact, and let me add to the fact, England were Group B winners, Ecuador were Group A runners up. Just like in this World Cup. I think there's a little revenge story on Ecuador, and I feel like Ecuador might be just like I've had Iran, potentially being one of the surprise packages at this World Cup. I can definitely see that. I think Ecuador can beat England. I'm just saying. Look, it may sound crazy, but look, if England can lose 4-0 to fucking Hungary, excuse the language, then I think Ecuador have every chance of beating England at this World Cup. Next round 16 match, Denmark versus Poland. This is a very, very decent matchup between two teams that I think a lot of people think can actually do decent. Maybe not so much so on Poland, and that's why I think Denmark, that sort of major dark horse pick, I think gets them through, Denmark. And I think Denmark, for the first time since 1998, reaches the quarterfinals of a World Cup after 2-3 attempts of being in the round 16. So I have Denmark going through and meeting Ecuador in the quarterfinal. Jeez. And then the final little bracket will start off with Belgium versus Germany. And this is where I feel that once Belgium comes up against a team that has the edge, the quality to punish teams, I think Germany punishes Belgium here. Belgium, they can do. I can see Belgium winning every game in their group. They can beat Canada, beat Morocco, beat Croatia. But when they come up against a Germany, or if they meet Spain, I think this is where Belgium falls. I honestly think that. And I have Germany going through to the quarterfinal. And then the next and the final round of 16 match is Uruguay versus Switzerland. That is an interesting matchup. And two dark horse picks, Uruguay and Switzerland. That's tough. This is the tough one for me. Honestly, I obviously. Do I think that all four of the South American teams, do I think all four of them reach the quarterfinal? I mean, it did happen back in 2010. That was 12 years ago in the first World Cup in Africa. This is the first World Cup in the Middle East. Not necessarily the first World Cup in Asia, but I feel like there's a balance in this Switzerland team. But I just, man, that's tough. Very tough. If this match happens, I wouldn't be surprised if whoever wins it, I wouldn't be surprised if they reach the quarterfinal, because they can beat themselves on the day. I just think that when it matters, if it goes to penalties or even extra time, I think Switzerland can end that drought in the extra time. And I think they can sneak it. But if it's in 90 minutes, it can go either way. I have Switzerland going through. Just about. This is an unsure one. Uruguay v Switzerland, if it happens in the round of 16. Very unsure. But now I have the quarterfinals for my my predictions for the World Cup. We'll start off with the first two. First quarterfinal technically is Spain v Brazil, but we'll start with the top. Iran versus Argentina. The fact that I have Iran going this far, I think is very good. Look, there's a lot of political and social stuff that's happening in Iran, and I feel like at the World Cup, how the team performs, I think Iran will be up to the occasion. And for Iran to reach a quarterfinal of a World Cup in Asia, I think has that special vibe about it. That's why I have Iran reaching the quarterfinals. That I feel like there's this the vibe that Iran can push on. But I just think that when you get into a quarterfinal, when it's do or die, again, Iran can hold Argentina off to a penalty shootout or something. I just think that Argentina wins it. And it ends the Iranian dreams at this World Cup. But it will be a magical and very big story if Iran makes it to the quarterfinal. I will say that. Next quarterfinal, I think this is the toughest one. Spain versus Brazil. I will say this, right? The last time that if let's say Brazil makes it, the last time that Argentina and Brazil met each other at a World Cup match was back in 1990 in the round 16, where Argentina won and eventually made the final to play Germany. I'll just add that. So it's now been 32 years since Argentina and Brazil met in a World Cup. This is not bias, again, but when you look at, I'm repeating myself so many times about Spain, but when you think about this Spain team in general, you think that they could go the distance. People say the Spain team, this is too early for them. I think this Spain team is ready to challenge the best of the best at this World Cup. That's why I feel like I don't think Spain aren't as bad as people might think. And I feel like the pressure on Brazil, I think, could get onto them. And I think Spain will be able to edge it out in the end. It could be like a goal in the first 5-10 minutes and then win it 1-0 after just scoring in 10 minutes and beat Brazil 1-0, something like that. And that's why I feel like I just think that Spain can have the edge over Brazil in this one. That's why I have Argentina versus Spain in the semifinal. Speak about that later. Next is Ecuador versus Denmark. The quote-unquote underdog quarterfinal or dog horse quarterfinal. This one could go to penalties or anything. I think once again, when I talk about the storylines, I think Denmark does have that strong storyline about them that they can go in another semifinal one at a major tournament back to back. I think this is the golden. I can say it. I think this is the golden generation of Danish football. Look, you can talk about the 90s team of Denmark. I think if you compare it, I think this is the better Denmark generation. And I feel like Denmark may edge Ecuador, maybe even on penalties. And yeah, I have Denmark going through. And then the final quarterfinal is Germany versus Switzerland. And this is where I think it ends for Switzerland once again. I think Germany has that World Cup experience with them that they reach once again a semifinal of a World Cup. When, to be honest, not a lot of people are really thinking that Germany can go all the way. We'll find out. So I have Denmark-Germany as another semifinal. So let's talk about my other semifinal, which is Argentina versus Spain. You have two storylines for both teams. Argentina, you know the storyline. Messi's last World Cup, they're winning it for him, right? Then you have Spain. A Spain team that not many people fancied throughout this World Cup. But when it mattered the most, Spain were able to grind it out in the end and show that they are a very good team. And which storyline at this World Cup, when these two teams met, if they do meet, who comes out on top? And let me add this, right? There's a few Argentina players that played in Spain in their career. The most notable one, Lionel Messi. Imagine Messi up against Pedri, Gavi, and Busquets. All Barcelona products against Messi. That's kind of why I have that storyline of Argentina and Spain now meeting in the semi-final. I think that's such a good storyline. And I think that the wealth of experience in this Argentina team over Spain, I think this is where it ends for Spain. And I think Argentina does it. I think Argentina does it. I think they can do it on penalties again. I think Morata can miss another decisive penalty. That's what I think, right? It can happen. It can happen. I just think that there's something about this Argentina team that feels like it clicks now. In 2018, I never fancied Argentina. Even when they made the knockout stage, I never fancied Argentina. And they went out to the eventual champions. I think that this Argentina team, can I say it? I think this is the best Argentina team in my lifetime. And I was born just a couple months after the 1998 World Cup. So 2002 group stage exit, 2006 quarterfinal exit, 2010 quarterfinal exit, 2014, yeah, they made the final, but they weren't convincing, but they were able to grind it out to reach the final. 2018, probably one of the worst Argentina teams, even worse than 2002 or 2010. I think this is the best Argentina team in my lifetime. Even so, better than 1998 as well. I think this is the best group of Argentina players in my lifetime, and maybe since 1990, to be honest. And I feel like it puts Argentina through to the World Cup final. And then my other semifinal, which is Denmark versus Germany. This is a big one because it sets up a World Cup final with Argentina. I just think there's dominance with this Germany team. Here's a fun fact. Denmark and Germany, both neighbors. Denmark's only border neighbor is Germany. So there's that little fun fact. I don't think that the true fairy tale of Denmark ends, but I think that big machine of Germany plays a big role. And I think Germany can win this matchup. I have Germany going to the World Cup final. So there will be a third place game, I know, but it doesn't show up. The third place game is Spain against Denmark. Look, anyone can win third place. Doesn't really matter. So I will go with Spain to get third place and Denmark to finish in fourth place. But good campaigns all together for both teams. And then you have it right here. The FIFA World Cup final in Qatar. Argentina versus Germany. I think this storyline of Argentina versus Germany, if you look at it in a storyline perspective of a World Cup, when you look back at a career, a World Cup, the fact that this is so, I'll say this is a very good storyline to put. Messi, one of the greatest players of all time, and Maradona, one of the greatest players in his generation, and probably of all time as well. When Argentina won the World Cup in 1986, the last time they won the World Cup, they beat, guess who? Germany. And who was their star player? Maradona. Now, we're in 2022. The fact that Messi has a second shot at the World Cup trophy, and not just playing against some random opponent, but the fact that it's Germany, the team that Messi did not win the first time around back in 2014, the team that stopped Messi and Argentina from winning the 2014 World Cup. This sets up a very good revenge story on Messi, and the fact that this storyline that also relates to Maradona in a way. I think this seems like a very, very good final to watch. But there's two outcomes. There's the good, amazing outcome. We all want Argentina to win the World Cup. But we also have the villain side of it. I'm not calling Germany a villain, but you look at the perspective, the storyline. Germany playing against Argentina again at a World Cup final to then stop Argentina for the third time in a row that Argentina reaches the final. They stop Argentina once again, stop Messi. The fact that will hurt on not only Argentina, but Messi at a World Cup final again, and not just in very good circumstances. Which storyline can we go on? Do we go on the Germany once again stopping Argentina and Messi winning the World Cup? Or do we go with the satisfying end of a career of one of the greatest players of all time, Lionel Messi? My predicted winner to win the 2022 FIFA World Cup is I don't care about scorelines. My predicted winner for the World Cup is Argentina. I think Messi does it. I know a lot of people are predicting Argentina to win, but are people predicting Argentina to play against Germany? That's the storyline I'm putting out there right now. And I feel like this, if Messi wins the World Cup, I think this is the perfect way for Messi to retire, to end his career on a high. And I think I think he does it. I think he does. That's what I'm predicting. Argentina to beat Germany in the 2022 FIFA World Cup final in Qatar. That's the prediction I'm going for. Argentina beating Germany at the World Cup. Man, that again, the storyline of that, it just seems so, it feels so good to be true that you feel like it can actually happen. And we know how good Germany is in tournament football. Look, they've not been good in past 2 tournaments, but you know about Germany. You cannot count out the Germans. I know it's a bit of a long video. I want to give my full detail, my full depth, my opinions on each team as much as I can and each knockout game I have. Look, if I will say this, if I have all 8 quarterfinalists predicted correctly, or even like 6 or 7, I think you should not only subscribe, but call me a bloody genius, because I know ball. Hopefully, so I will see this. If I can get 8 all 8 quarterfinalists correct, that would be amazing. That would be amazing, right? So, yeah. Once again, thank you guys so much for watching my World Cup prediction video. And if you want, obviously, do join my World Cup Fantasy League. The code is right here. And also, why not hit the like button on this video and subscribe to the channel and ring the notification bell so that you don't miss any of my World Cup content that'll be coming out throughout the World Cup. And the World Cup is starting soon. Cannot wait much longer. Viva la España. I know I didn't upload or make my fun facts video that I said back on Tuesday, or will have on Tuesday. I will include that during my 10+1 World Cup podcast, which will be out. It will be live on this Saturday, the 19th of November. I'll be letting you guys know about some fun facts about the World Cup, and obviously I'll have hopefully a special guest join the show as well. And until then, I will see you guys in the next one.